Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Kilcullen. I am the founder of Exploring the Wonder Years. Today, we are going to talk about co-parenting, parenting. And so I have my special people here. And Jay, I'm going to start with you. We're in this journey together.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jay Cologne, co-parenting partner in this Exploring the Wonder Years venture. Today we are honored to have a guest appearance by Olivia Rios,
Thank you.
who has been in our lives for quite some time, but more specifically with Danielle, obviously, one of her childhood friends. I leave it to you, girl.
Great. Hi, my name is Olivia Rios, and I am here to share my story.
Thank you, Olivia, for joining us. Jay, I wanted to tell you that the other day, when I was talking to people about this journey that we've been on, they did not realize that the guy in the ads was the baby daddy. And so I thought to myself randomly, I was like, did they think I was just like looking for random men that I was going to say, this is the baby daddy or this is the co-parent?
Wait a minute. You didn't put an asterisk on the bottom and inform everyone the disclosure?
Just ran you like, do you co-parent? Do you co-parent at the supermarket? Do you co-parent?
He's
Oh,
the
and
villain. He's
you're
the
nice
villain.
looking. The other thing, I was like, did they think I picked just random nice looking guys and say, hey, I could co-parent with this one?
We'll talk about that after.
Anyway. All right, Olivia, set the stage for us. Tell us about your parenting journey, co-parenting included.
So I'm currently a single mom. His father is alive, but is not currently in his life. And so I know that he is alive because I communicate to check in on him once in a while. I need to make sure that he's physically alive, but he is not present. Like if my son were to see his dad, he would not know that that is his dad. So that is the parenting style that I have, which is single mom, but I don't feel like a single mom. So that's a blessing.
Why do you? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danielle.
No, go ahead. We're on the same page. Can you say more about
Yeah.
that?
Please.
So I just want to say that my support system is so prominent that that's the reason why I don't feel like a single mom. My sister and my brother-in-law are heavily in our lives, as well as my mom and dad, and my grandmother and my two aunts. So like my core is mostly my dad's side, but they're just it's quick to access anyone. Even my nieces were like, oh, we'll stay with Kobe. So anytime I need support, they always step in.
Great support system.
So I don't feel his absence heavily.
Yeah, Jay and I have talked a lot about in our previous episodes that it truly takes a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
Can you speak to how old Kobe is, your journey for deciding when to have a child, and that whole thing?
So I had Kobe when I was 38 years old. I wanted a child. I wanted a son, but I said I wanted a healthy baby. But I was very excited to have a boy. He was born the day after Thanksgiving, and he's just a really happy, kind kid. And I feel very grateful, right, that I don't have like I haven't experienced like a lot of tantrums. I haven't experienced. I feel like I'm having an easy parenting journey in regards to the toddler transition into preschool. So I was scared at 37 because I felt like I was gonna be an older mom and I didn't want to have a child with a disability. And I know that sometimes those are stigmas that are out there. So I did my best to stay healthy in that regard. And I've been blessed. So, thus far he's a healthy child.
Awesome.
So one question that we've answered in the past is, does co-parenting mean equal? What do you believe?
I do not believe co-parenting is equal. I believe the parent that the child lives with carries the brunt of the responsibility unless the child stays midweek with the parent and that there is that type of arrangement. But if the child parent, primarily lives with one parent, I feel like that parent carries most of the responsibility.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think I wondered when when someone asked, does co-parenting mean equal? It made me also think about families that have both parents involved. Does one feel like they have the majority of the responsibility? So I agree totally with what you're saying. It's like whoever the child lives with. I also think that there's one parent, whether there's two-parent household, there's one parent that will handle certain things over another parent.
Yes, I agree.
I have a question. So, considering that you are a single mom, what types of challenges do you feel you have as opposed to um, a two-parent household or a co-parenting existence?
So I think that the challenges for me were more when he was an infant, the having to walk out the house and carry the car seat, have the stroller, the diaper bag. Um, Often I would shift from one house to the next because I didn't have my own space yet. So I would, on the weekends, I would go to my sister's, and then carrying us back home for me was a challenge. And that would break me internally. Like I'm walking out the house and I would cry because I was frustrated. Um, but I'd get it done. The tears would roll. I'd drive home and I'd let it go. And I learned that those tears were a healing process for me. And it's humbling, right? Because I think that as a person that was not a parent early in my life, I never considered single parents in retrospect, right? Like I'm like, yeah, it's a tough job, but because I didn't experience it, I didn't really understand it until now when I see a single mom with a stroller and a bag and groceries, I'm holding the door, I'm holding a bag. Like I now extend myself because I know what it's like.
Yeah, I remember times when Josh was younger. I had access to a car, right? And so thinking about like what it took to get him to the babysitter in the morning so that I can get to work. I think back at those moments and I'm so grateful that I wasn't on a bus or I wasn't on a train having to do those things. And I too, I agree with you. When I see somebody doing that hustle, my heart truly goes out to them. And we don't know their story. They might be in a two-family household, but living where we, in New York City, everybody has to work because if not, you're not making it.
Absolutely.
I remember even when we were together in our early, you know, getting on a train and lifting all the bags. We used to buy the lightest stroller specifically so that it can make it easier, bringing it up the stairs of the train station, down the stairs. And I could only imagine the parents, the mothers that are doing it, day in and day out on the train, taking their kids to school with the toddler in hand, or
I've
an
never
infant.
trained with him. And I kind of feel like I'm I, I don't know what word I want to use, but I guess like I have him in a bubble. And it's just like I know that that's a hustle and bustle. Just the strollers alone, like them being the lightest ones, they're still heavy with you having to carry the child and the diaper bag. So I know that I've been blessed because I have a vehicle. And now I would consider putting him on the train, but before I would not. And I was grateful that I had that option.
Yeah, yeah. I remember spending a crazy amount of money on a stroller because, again, we're talking about like 20 something years ago. So things are very different now. But I remember spending a crazy amount of money on this stroller because it said it was like under 7 pounds or something crazy like that. I mean, it was a little flimsy thing, but I remember going with my little money to to buy the stroller, and I was so proud of it.
It was the McLaren something. You strapped it over your shoulder and you kept on moving. It was pretty light though.
How crazy that you and I remember that moment. What an impact that made and changed our life, buying a stroller.
It's so funny, the research that you do, right? As a parent, like, it's like, what's going to make my life easy to travel for the morning hustle and bustle? And it's harder for those that have more than one kid, right? I have one child. So thankfully, when I see 3 or more, I'm like, you get so much respect.
So true. Yes.
Tip your hat.
Absolutely.
Okay, question I have. What are your core values as a parent?
So for me, it's respect, kindness, and compassion. I feel like that will build, you always have to be kind to people, respect them regardless, like whether you like them or not. And just compassion, like be kind. We don't know everyone's situation.
Right.
You know, like we were saying, they could be in a 2-parent home, but right now they're struggling with the kid, the groceries, and the stroller.
Yeah.
So, and we talk about that often, him and I. And not that he necessarily understands, but he says yes like he does. So I go with
How
it.
old is Kobe?
Kobe just turned 4 2 weeks ago.
God bless you.
What does it sound like when you're having a kindness conversation with a 4-year-old?
So I kind of give him examples, right? I'm like, do you like when mommy yells at you? And he's like, no. And I said, you like me to be kind, right? You like me to use an inside voice? And he's like, yes, mommy. And I said, so that's what you have to do to others and others need to do to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like breaking it down to what he understands can be kind and cannot be kind. And even just showing love, right? Because he goes through moments where someone is not his favorite. And so a person has not done anything to him, but because you said no to him, he no longer likes you. And so now these are conversations that we need to have. You know, this person loves you, they are a family member, and they'll do anything for you. You have to continue to be kind. Just because they said no, that doesn't mean that they don't love you anymore. It's just the moment. It was not appropriate, and you have to keep on moving.
I find that same situation with Jaden. He doesn't, his communication is like, I don't like that, or I want my mommy, specifically when he's with me, and it's his way of saying I'm really not satisfied with what you're telling me or what you're asking me to do, so therefore but he's such a kind little child.
How old is he?
He's 4. He's gonna be 5 next week, Friday.
So something that I've observed between Jay and Jaden is this talk about manners and rules. And so a question that I have for you, where do you lie with talking about rules and manners with Kobe?
I feel like because it's him and I in the house, we don't really need to. It's like you're comfortable with me, so you're gonna be rude sometimes, right? And so I try to check him at the moment. And when we're at someone else's house, I was like, we don't do that at home. So please don't do that here. Like, let's stay focused, right? I don't let you jump on the couch. I don't let you like scream at the top of your lungs. So let's keep that same energy in someone else's home.
Yeah.
And so, and he's kind of like very witty. Like he picks up energies very quickly. Like I look at him and he's like, oh, I gotta chill. Or even when he wants a snack and someone's gonna give him a snack, he looks at me like, are you gonna approve or not?
Uh-huh.
And so I give him the eye signal and I'm like, go ahead. And he's like, yay. So he kind of understands our nonverbal, which I appreciate because not all kids understand our nonverbal.
That's true. The look.
Yes, the look.
Olivia, I have a question as to, we know that you're a single mom, but can you elaborate on the type of male figures Kobe has in his life?
So it's funny because we were talking about this earlier. My brother-in-law, which is my sister's husband, is probably the most represented man in his life. They had a bond since he was born. And I kind of call him his surrogate dad. It's funny because um, Kobe's dad is black, and so is my brother-in-law, and so he kind of looks like their kids instead of my kid. Right? So when we take family pictures, it's like I'm just the aunt just coming along because my nieces and they look like siblings. And his family makes fun of us because I do spend time with my brother-in-law's family, and so that is like also my extended family. And so they're like, "Oh, he's just going to his dad," and we just, but he understands that that's his uncle, right? Like he doesn't try to
So
call him.
he knows the division.
Yes. And he knows that like my sister and my brother-in-law are together, like they're a unit, and that I have my partner. Like those people understood.
So you have a partner as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So something that Jay and I have talked about in the past is what does dating look like when you're parenting, especially with young children? Are you willing to speak to that a little bit?
I did not date the first about 2.5, 3 years. It was kind of tough because I don't want to introduce just anyone to my child. And if you're not going to be around for a long time, then, what's the point? I don't want it to be like a revolving door and him have an idea of like, what's going on here. So, I've been with this individual for a year and a half, and they have a good relationship. They get along. They play games together. It's so interesting because I just recently left him for like an hour with him for the first time ever. And one, he was so willing, which I appreciated. Like he didn't even let me finish my sentence, and he was like, "Yes." And I felt so comfortable with that, the fact that he was willing and the fact that they got along, so that when I got home, they were playing a game together. And it wasn't like it was set up because I was at a dentist appointment and it took a lot longer than expected, but he was comfortable. He felt safe. He was laughing. I didn't have to have that fear of like what's happening to my son, which I feel like is very important. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So one other thing I think that we've been asked, and I want to just pose this question to you, connecting with dating. We had a question one time where the question was, do you allow your child to call the boyfriend dad? And so what do you think about that?
it's interesting because Kobe is now identifying what a dad is in a family life, but he does not know his personal dad.
Mhm.
So
Question. I'm sorry. Before you go on, is your significant other, is he living with you or is he
he
in
lives
this?
in his own place and I live in my own place.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um, and we were watching TV one day and he was like, "Oh, daddy." And I said, "Did you hear that?" He goes, "I did hear that." And I'm like, we kind of like left it alone. We didn't want to startle him. And we kind of didn't have the conversation any further. It was just like, was this an incident? So he's never called him dad again, which I'm kind of grateful for because it's like I feel like we're still in the beginning stages and it's really not appropriate.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic.
It's
Maybe
a
that
hot
we,
topic.
yeah, that we can explore.
Yes.
And I think hello, we were just talking about you.
Hi, Kobe.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Kobe. We could not have planned that any better for sure. All right. Olivia, we would like to have you come back. I think there's more for us to definitely unpack here. And oh my goodness.
Concentrate, Danielle.
Jeez,
Concentrate.
I'm getting so jealous here. Josh, call me. Look, Kobe's trying to teach you something.
One of the love languages.
Oh, good stuff.
Why do I have a red mouth? It's called lipstick. It means it just paints your lips a different color. You can tell I don't wear makeup that
I
often.
was just gonna say, this is a problem with COVID. You know, we need to like add some more makeup each day so our children are not like, what is happening right now? Why do you have that on?
Right.
All right, Olivia, thank you for
Thank
being
you
with
so
us
much.
Thanks.
today. I know that these moments are not easy for you to come and be vulnerable in this way, but we think that your story will definitely help someone else in the future. So thank you for doing this.
For inviting me.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day. Say bye,
Yes.
guys.
Bye, Colby. Jay, be well. Thank
You
you.
too. Ladies, always a pleasure.
All right, I'm pausing here.